Welcome in, everyone. How is everyone doing? Let me see if I can pull myself up here on my iPad. All right, welcome in, welcome in. Sorry, I've had quite a week. My solar system went down, so I had no internet, no power, no nothing. But now I'm back online. I've got a little bit of power going on. We're still troubleshooting the power bank, but I am here and I am ready to read for you guys. So I thought we would start with a midweek check-in, all right, and see how are you? How is everybody doing? I'm doing really, really good. And yeah, it's a dreary day here in New Mexico, but I thought, yeah, before I get on with my day, let's check in with all you guys and see how you're doing because I've missed you. All right, so with that being said, let's kind of pull a card, one card from my shuffle deck. I love my shuffle deck, and see what's going on with all of the signs while we wait for people to come into the chat. And then once you guys get in here, I'll be happy to read for each and every one of you. All right, so remember, always take what works, leave what doesn't. We all know who we are in this story, and we're just going to go with that. All right, so don't forget to hit that like button. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And while we wait for everybody to come in, let's check in with the shuffle deck and see what's going on for all of the signs. For a midweek check-in, what can the shuffle deck tell me to tell you on what's going on this midweek? All right, grateful, thankful for the messages, always. All right, we're going to start with my Aries. So your card for today is the Six of Swords. So I feel like you want a situation, but it's like bittersweet, whatever this bittersweet energy is, because, the Six of Wands is an energy of winning, of success, of being recognized. But here with all these swords, I feel like it came at a cost. So that's what I'm feeling is going on for some of my Aries. My Taurus, let's see, what do we have for you? We have the Knight of Cups coming in, all right? So, but you're the Hermit sitting on top of this horse. So when we have the Knight of Cups, it's like an offer of, from someone. Maybe this is somebody who you secretly would like to have, a connection with. Because when we have the Hermit, we're not putting ourselves out there. So I'm just wondering for some of my Taurus, if quite possibly, you need to open up a little bit. I mean, if this is somebody you really want to connect with, and they don't know it, you're going to have to let them know. So don't be afraid to reach out to someone and maybe just invite them for something casual, something light, like a cup of coffee or something, something that doesn't have like a big commitment. So if it goes well, you can move on from there. And if it doesn't, that's okay. It was just a cup of coffee, right? Hi, Gaurav. How are you? Welcome in. Nice to see you. All right, let's move on. Hi, Kim. Welcome, welcome. It's nice to see people coming into the chat. I'm just going to continue with, just pulling one card for all the signs, a midweek check-in, just seeing what's going on in your life. And then once people get into the chat, we'll start pulling cards for you guys, all right? So just kind of keep that in mind. I am on to Gemini. Let's see what the card is for my Gemini clan. We have you coming in as the Seven of Cups. I like this because when we have the energy of the Seven of Cups, usually like we're a little confused, things are really a little complicated. You don't know what your next step is. But with this one, you have picked a cup. And I feel as if you are going to trust that, the next thing is going to show itself. Especially here, with this one, it's got almost like this cover over it, so it's just like you don't need to know. You're just going to trust that everything is going to work out well. So if you have been in a funk, Gemini, I do feel like, you're at that point where you're just going to let things be. It's one of those let go and let God kind of energies. All right. So that's what I've got for my Geminis. Welcome in, you guys. Nice to see you. Don't forget to hit that like button. All right, let's see, Cancer. What do we got for you? We have the Ten of Cups coming in. I like that, because I feel like you made it to a point that you needed to get to. So maybe you've reached a goal. Maybe you've reached this place where you can finally relax. This could be an energy around, you've been working really hard to accomplish something. And I feel like with this Ten of Cups here, you have finally reached that goal. I do see the finish line here with this checkered kind of energy here. So you made it. You made it, Cancer. So, pat yourself on the back, all right? You hung in there, you persevered. And I think in the end, it's one of these energies where we can now sit back and celebrate a little bit. All right. Leo, what's coming up for you? Uh-oh, Leo, look at what we got coming in. We've got the Nine of Cups. Notice that this person is kind of drinking themselves all by themselves. Listen, Leo, if you are feeling sorry for yourself, if things aren't really working out really well for you, don't overindulge by yourself. If you're going to go out and drink, find some friends to go out and have a good time. I just feel like, you can't just be overindulging and I do get feeling sorry for yourself, so, what's the point? So you're going to go and do something that may not be totally good for you. So just watch that, all right, Leo? Let's just kind of make sure that if we are going to put ourselves out there, in a way to kind of handle our emotions, that we do it in a more positive way rather than, just grabbing the bottle and just over here drinking yourself into oblivion. All right, so just watch your emotions this week, Leo, because I do feel as if, there is this energy where I do feel a little sorry for myself and where I'm at, and listen, we all have those down days, but, we can do it in a way and take care of ourselves and say, well, rather than make myself feel like crap and disconnect, rather than drink, maybe you might find yourself in a spa, and just kind of relax and feel a little bit better. Anyway, that's what I've got for you, Leo. Let's move on to my Virgos. Virgo, what do we have for you? We have the Queen of Cups coming in. So this week's energy, I'm feeling like you're a little shut down. Maybe there's somebody that you got into an argument with, because way over here we have this Lion and you're way over here. So maybe, you put a little distance between you and someone because you just don't want to talk to them. And I think that is okay. All right, Virgo, because sometimes some space is what we need, especially if we have to deal with a situation that's, a little tough or a little, sensitive. But I feel as if, you're not ready to just open wide up and just kind of, let things go. I think you need space between you and someone or a situation so that you can get a little bit more perspective. Hey, you guys, welcome in. Nice to see you guys. Hi, Gerline. Hi, Chandra Lika. I think that's how we say that. Hi, Salamawit. Nice to see you. Yeah, I'm a little late. I don't know if you caught the very beginning, but my solar system was down and I had no internet. I had no power. I was just going through it, all right? So anyway, I've got a little bit of power. I got my internet, so I thought, let's come on here and just kind of check in with you guys and see how you're doing. Hi, Toxica. Welcome in. So listen, I am on to my Libras. I'm just pulling one card for, every person, all the signs, and then I'm going to turn my attention to you guys. Oh, Salamawit, it's okay. It's just the nature of life. Everything in my life has broken. So why not let the solar system break? I feel as if there's nothing left that can break in my life. The cars are getting fixed. The solar system is getting fixed and I'm still okay, right? I'm still smiling. So it's all good. All right. All right. Let's pull a card for my Libras. Libra, we have you coming in as the Fool, dressed like the Hierophant, so I feel like, you need to trust the direction you want to go in. All right. Maybe your spirit is calling you to do something. But when we have the energy of the Fool, I mean, it's really like, I'm just going to do what I want to do because this is what I feel like I'm being guided to do and it's going to be okay. So I like this lighthearted energy for you because I feel like, you just want to have a good time. I think you really want to enjoy the direction you're going in, and why not do something you haven't done, Libra? Because I feel as if, it may open up into something much better and, potentially maybe even meet somebody that you could really align with or meet a group of people or something to that capacity. But I think, Libra, you are ready to just gonna go out and just, explore and see what's on the other side of the fence. So I really do like that for you. All right, Scorpio, what card do we have for you? So we have the 10 of Wands coming in for you. So when we have the energy of the Ten of Wands, this is us really carrying a lot of weight, a lot of responsibility. Maybe there's a lot on your mind. But here it's almost as if, while you're traveling along, you meet someone that maybe you can open up to. And again, just like Libra, I feel like if you, just kind of move along in your way, and not just kind of let the heaviness and the burdens of your life hold you back, that you may actually meet somebody who, could really help you along, whether this is a friend that you happen to run into that, you haven't seen in a while. I just feel as if, it's a very good way for you to kind of release a little bit of what it is you've been carrying. And why not say, maybe I'll put these wands down and let's go have a drink or something and just kind of let go and just have a good time. I feel like you're at that point where, you're always the one carrying all the burden, all the weight, all the responsibility, and it's just time for you to let go just a little bit. All right, so anyway, I do like that energy for you. All right, let's see who is next. Sagittarius, what do we got for you? We got the devil in disguise here. You may begin something. I mean, this is a young energy here. I feel like it's the Fool. Listen, if you're going to do something naughty, all right, it's okay. But I feel like you're going to keep it in the dark. Some Sagittarius out there has a secret and they don't want anybody to know what is really going on. And I do get the sense that this is one of these things that, oh my gosh, if people knew what I was up to, they would just not like it. But listen, sometimes we just got to be a little bit naughty, in order for us to come back to reality. So yeah, I'm just sensing some of our Saggies might be out there, doing something they shouldn't, or maybe starting something with someone that maybe they shouldn't. But that's okay. We only live once, right, Sag? All right, let's see who's next. We have my Capricorns. We have the Eight of Wands. All right, listen, some of you Capricorns, I mean, you're the workhorse of the zodiac sign, and you've been working on something. And I think, you are your own worst enemy, because whatever it is that you are working on, it's on fire. All right, look, these wands, they're lit up. Things are happening. So, get out of your head. Things are working. All right, maybe not to your timetable, maybe not in the way that you want them to work. But listen, Capricorn, it's all happening. All right. So let's just kind of let go of like all of the thoughts of, oh my gosh, I should have done this. I should have done that. Maybe I shouldn't have presented that so soon. Listen, whatever it is that's going on, it's working. So let it work. All right. Anyway, that's what I've got for you. All right, Aquarius, what do we got for you? We have the Seven of Swords. All right, now this is looking a lot like the Seven of Cups. So I feel as if there has been an issue that has been brewing that has been really bothering you and not knowing what to do. And my focus goes to this one here. We've got this sword and this stone. I think the bottom line is like you just got to get to the source of the truth. All right, if you can deal with the source of the truth, then that's what's going to bring you some peace of mind. All right, because a lot of times when we're in this energy of the Seven of Cups, we don't want to make a mistake, but sometimes, we make mistakes because we're not informed. And I'm just feeling like, whatever is going on that has put you into a state of confusion, that now what you need to do is just kind of like focus on like, all right, what is the truth? Let's get to the bottom of everything and just deal with that core issue. And I think you will be okay. All right. So that's what I've got for you, Aquarius. All right, last but not least, we have Pisces. All right, Pisces, we got the Sun card coming in. But notice that instead of a horse and a child, we have, the Hermit. So I feel like, for some of you Pisces, internally, you've been really, really quiet. You've been really kind of know what it is that you really want to do that's going to make you happy. And with the Sun card energy coming in, you've got to follow that. You've got to follow that wisdom. You've got to follow the fact that you have experience under your belt and you've been there, done that. You know what this does if I do this. So I think you know the rights and wrongs, and I think you know what it is you need to do in order to find the happiness that you are really after this week. So that's what I've got for all of the signs. quickly. Now I want to turn my attention to you guys because you're all in the chat. Really happy to see you. Don't forget to hit that like button over there. Hit that like button, like, comment, share, subscribe. All that good stuff really makes a difference to my channel. And gosh, I would sure like to see my channel continue to grow. All right, so help me make that happen. But meanwhile, I'm going to ring my bell over here, burn a little bit of cedar, clear the energies, and let's see what's going on with everyone. Grateful, thankful for the messages for you guys. All right, so let's read for you. Here's a little smudge. Clear the world, clear the energies, clear the world. Wouldn't it be great if we could just like smudge the world into like peace and harmony and all of that good stuff? That would be amazing. All right, but let's see what's going on, you guys. Anybody out there looking for some kind of reading? I'm happy to read for you guys right now. Tell me what's going on. We got everybody saying hi, so I'm going to say hi back. What's happening? Nathaniel Harris, how are you? Hi, Mustard Seed. Welcome in. Selma Witt. What's going on? Right? Let's clean the world, right, S.A.? No, seriously, wouldn't that be great if we could just like burn a little bit of cedar or smudge, whatever we do, and know that, you know, this is going to bring peace and harmony? Let's do that. All right, Nathaniel, you got a question? You want me to read a card for you? I'm happy just to pull one card, general reading, see what comes out for you guys. Or we can, you know, get a little more specific, however you guys want to do it. All right, let's see. Selma Witt, your contract ends next week. Let's see about your job. I think, didn't we see that you had a job coming through? If I do recall, but let's find out. All right, Selma Witt, let's find out. Your contract ends next week. What can I tell you about this next job? Hi, S.A., we'll get you next, and then Nathaniel. All right, let's see, Selma Witt, what's coming up for your next job? What can you tell me? Nope. Okay, I was wrong. Maybe it was someone else. All right, Selma Witt, what we got coming up for you? We have the Seven of Pentacles. All right, see, I see that something is ending that wasn't very good for you. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles, also reversed. So, you know, I feel like you're going to have to really put some effort out to manifest this next job that you're after. All right, because with the Knight of Pentacles, I don't feel like there's an offer right off the table. And then we also have the Magician coming in reversed. So a lot of endings, you know, but you can't like act as if, you know, with these endings, there's nothing else, you know, because the Knight of Pentacles says, you know, we got to get up and we got to go look for this next job. And then the Magician coming in reverse says, you know, you got to make things happen. All right. You can't sit back and hope that something is going to land. So I do feel as if you've got to get yourself out there. Here we are, the Seven of Wands, and see what is really there. Now, you do have your foot on the wand. So I think, Selma, what you need to do is, you know, focus in the direction of what. Still here, all right? All right. All right, just a little blip there. All right, Selma Witt, so that's what I feel you need to do, is to really kind of, you know, focus on the direction that you want to go in and then go after it. Because if you don't do that, I don't feel like you're going to get, you know, the job that you really want. Welcome in, you guys. How are you? All right, SA, any success for you this week? You got some paperwork to do, to put through. Let's see. All right, grateful, thankful. Hi, Candy Apple. Hi, Jenny's Cozy Corner. Welcome in. Nice to see you. All right, let's see, SA. We're reading for SA. Wanting to know any success for you this week. Lots of papers coming through. Let's see what's going on for SA. Let's see what's going on. Good to see you, Candy. All right, SA, we're looking for success in what you are doing. So listen, the Emperor's coming in reversed, all right? So, and then we have the Temperance. A little bit of patience, all right? Because I feel as if, you know, with the Emperor reverse, it's like trying to control everything, and you've got to let go of some of the control and have a little bit of patience, all right? So when you're going through these papers that you need to do, don't force it, all right? Because I feel as if, it's one of those things. Do the paper, kind of let it go. Do another one, let that go. Go back to the first one, because then you'll start to see, maybe I could change this, maybe I could do that. So I'm really feeling like when it comes to so much paperwork that you have to do, if you want success, you need to be a little bit patient and not try to force anything to be the way you want it to be, because, it was in the words of one of my art teachers. He came up to me and he says, the best craft people and artists are the ones that take a coffee break. So don't be afraid to like maybe work on it for a few minutes, 20 minutes or a half hour, and then go take a break and then come back to it. And I think this is where you're going to gain success with your paperwork. All right. All right. Now we were going to read for Nathaniel Harris, a general card for you, Nathaniel. How are you? Right. SA, go with the flow and relax. Because if not, you just get frustrated. Do you know what I mean? Like, how come I can't figure this out? How come I can't figure this out? And sometimes, when we finally let it go, the answer comes to us. And I feel like that's kind of how you have to approach your paperwork. All right, Nathaniel, let's pull a card for you. Grateful, thankful for the messages from my friend Nathaniel Harris. What can you tell me to tell Nathaniel? Grateful, thankful for my friend out there. Hey, let's see what's going on, Nathaniel. This card is for you. Let's see what's coming out for you. Grateful, thankful for the messages for Nathaniel Harris. What do we have? We've got the Nine of Cups coming in reverse. So I feel like there's a situation that's not going to go the way you want it to go. All right, now I'm going to go back to, this last reading I just did. Sometimes when we try to force something to happen, it's not going to happen. But I just don't feel like you're going to have this wish that you want. Now, I want you to think about it, all right? Sometimes when we see the Nine of Cups coming up, why is it that you want this to happen? What is it? If it's for selfish motives, that's probably why it's not going to happen. But let me pull another card for you and see. Yeah, I just feel like you're not going to get something, maybe some accolades, maybe, the recognition that you are after. Let it go, all right? Because I feel like it's just not time. If we turn these things around in time, things will work out. But this week, I just don't feel like, Nathan, you're going to get the wish that you really wanted. Bottom of the deck, again, we have this forced energy. Whenever we try to get something that we want so desperately, so badly, sometimes, it just backfires on us. And I feel like a little of that is going to happen for you, Nathaniel. So hang in there, all right? Maybe not this wish is the one that's coming through, but there's probably a better one behind it. All right, let's see. Mustard Seed wants to know whether or not they should move. Should Mustard Seed move? Grateful, thankful. You're changing apartments and you're not very happy here. Hi, Toxica. Welcome in. All right, I'll give you some advice here in just a minute. All right, Mustard Seed, let's find out whether or not you should move. Grateful, thankful for the messages from Mustard Seed. What can you tell me to tell Mustard Seed? Grateful, thankful for the messages. All right, here we go. Upright for yes. Look, I feel like you should move. And here, unlike Nathaniel, I feel like you will end up in a place that is really some place that you would like, all right? So we got the genie coming out of this cup, going to grant you a better place. So yeah, I feel like maybe you should think about moving. And here we have the Hierophant. I think you're going to find a place that is more in line with your needs, your vibe, something like that, all right? So I like that for you. All right, let's go to Toxica, who threw me out $1.99. Thanks for the $2 there. I really appreciate it. Let's find out some career advice for Toxica. Grateful, thankful for the messages for Toxica. What can you tell me to tell Toxica regarding career? Any career advice for Toxica? Grateful, thankful for the messages. I just want to shuffle the cards really well for you, all right? All right, let's see what's coming out. Toxica, we have the World card. So you're coming to a place where things are starting to come to an end, all right? Maybe you're going to end this job. Maybe you're going to move on to something else. You're really, really close. You're very guarded right now in the position that you're in, and I think, 'cause I feel like intuitively, that something is going on, so when we're at this point of the 9 of Wands, and look how guarded you are. I mean, you got to step outside of your comfort zone. And maybe, if you've been on the fence as to whether or not you should really kind of move on and find another job, that this World card is indicating maybe quite possibly you should bring it to a close. Let's get one more card. Yeah, because I just feel like where you are right now is not working for you. And when we have the 8 of Pentacles, coming in reverse, this is not how you want to build your career, because here we see him building this structure, right? But it's reversed. And a lot of times with the 8 of Pentacles, we need to break our cycles, all right? And there is a cycle that really wants to come to an end. And, how much longer do you want to be guarded around a situation when you can probably find something else and move in a direction that is going to be much better for you? And when we're at the point of the 9 of Wands, the 10 of Wands follows, so you're so close to making this next shift. And I feel like you just got to break the cycle and just kind of bite the bullet, all right? Especially if you have been wanting to, move on from a situation. Bottom of the deck, I have the 10 of Cups coming in here. I think, there's more happiness for you somewhere else than where you are right now. All right, so that's what I've got for you, Toxica. All right, let's see who else is out there. Jenny, so grateful that you're here. Really thankful you're here. You'd love a reading today, my choice. Let's do a general reading from my friend Jenny's Cozy Corner. Grateful, thankful for her energy. What can you tell me to tell Jenny today? Grateful, thankful for the messages for Jenny. What can you tell me to tell Jenny's Cozy Corner? All right, here we go. This card's for you, Jenny. All right, look, we got the 2 of Cups, so I feel like there's a divine connection happening. It could be love, maybe at work. There could be somebody that is very interested with you at work. Now, when, we see the 2 of Cups, it could be a new relationship or it could be a partnership. The fact that I do see that this 3 of Pentacles comes out as well, I mean, there could be an opportunity that comes up for a real great beginning with you and someone that could probably lead to more prosperity. So I like that for you, Jenny. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. 6 of Swords is at the bottom of the deck, so I feel like there is some troubles that are going on within you, and it could be around someone. If you are dealing with someone who is not available to you, let them go, all right? Because I do see this King of Wands who is all talk and no action, everything is about them. So if you are connected to somebody who, you just question their real motives, I mean, honestly, it's all about them. It's not about you. And I do see that there could be a better, partnership or connection for you moving forward if you let that one go. All right, Jenny, so that's what I've got for you. All right, Colocho. Oh, what a beautiful message. May God accept prayers of everyone. Absolutely. I always like to, say in my prayers that, what can be heard is that unsaid prayer that we don't know how to say. Sometimes we do know, that, we should be doing something or we should be praying this certain way or there's something we really want, I always put that prayer out that, that unanswered prayer be heard, the one that we don't know how to say. All right, let's see who else is out there. Your question is, when will you get married? You're 22. Will be 23 in December. Amina. All right, let's see, Amima. Let's find out. We get an idea of when Amima's going to be married. I mean, you're really young. Honestly, when it comes to astrology, I don't know whether you are into astrology or not, but, to get married before you have your Saturn return, which usually happens from the time, 28 it starts, 29 you're into it until 30. There's big shifts and big changes that happen, so I always try to encourage people to wait a little bit before they get married and not get married too young. But that's just my opinion. So let's find out about you. You're obviously anxious to get married, so let's see what might come your way. All right, Amima. All right, listen, we have the Two of Cups coming in reverse. So I don't feel like you're going to get married real soon. And you may be involved in a relationship that is very, very heavy. The demands that they want on you, it's just not working. So if you are in a relationship right now, I don't feel like that's the person you're going to marry, all right? Let's get another card. Queen of Swords. Yeah, I see you getting really, really cold towards this connection. So if you are with somebody, or maybe this is the next person you're going to meet, I don't feel like that's them, all right? If anything, there is going to be a big learning curve that you will have, because, you may not be seeing them the way you should be looking at them. Because, a lot of times, especially when we're young, we're really blinded by love. And I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on with you in this relationship. So I would not be afraid to wait, all right? And, that way you can meet the person that you really want. And then we have the Lover's card at the bottom of the deck. Like I said, I don't feel like this person that you are with is the person that you are going to marry. And that could be the person you are with now or the next one that you're going to have. All right, so that's what I've got for you, Amima. It's not going to happen this year. All right, let's see. Candy, what's coming first to you in abundance? All right, let's see. May there be financial prosperity from my friend Candy Apple. A bright spirit within my chat. All right, let's see what's going on. The Storytime Kitchen. Hey, welcome in. Nice to see you. So nice to see you. All right, let's see, Candy. What's coming in when it comes to abundance? What can you tell me to tell my Candy Apple out there? Grateful, thankful for the messages. Yeah, good to have you in the chat here, Storytime Kitchen. Really nice to see you. All right, grateful, thankful for the messages for Candy Apple around abundance. What can you tell me to tell Candy Apple around abundance? Three of Wands. All right, I feel like you got to be a little bit more optimistic, and focus more on, I feel like, you've got to get more focused on what it is you really want in order to create this abundance. Because right now, whenever I see the Three of Wands coming in, there's an attitude shift that has to happen, so you got to wake up and, just trust that I'm going to be walking down the street and I'm going to find $5 today. Or, there's going to be abundance. It's going to be shown to me in the direction. Because when we have this, it's like you just don't see it happening. And I think you need to turn that around and see abundance in your future, and then you'll get it. All right, Candy Apple. It could come in the form of somebody. There could be somebody. I have a King of Cups here at the bottom of the deck who could help you make that happen. All right, so let's shift our attitude. Let's think positively, and that power of positivity will grant you the finances that you are after. All right. So, time for an attitude adjustment, Candy Apple. Hi, Namira. Thanks for being a new subscriber. Really grateful. Really grateful. Yeah, happy Halloween month. I know. Where you been, Storytime? Where you been? All right, let's see. Who's next? Who can I read? What does he feel about me? How does he feel about you? 22H. All right, let's see what's going on for 22H. How does he really feel about you? What does he feel about you? Let's find out. Let's pull their energy and see. All right, 22H. Let's find out. Grateful, thankful for you guys. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the shares, all that good stuff. Somehow I can't like my own channel. I don't know why, but it won't do it. All right, let's see. How do they feel? 10 of Swords. All right, listen, I don't know if you guys have been going through some hard times, but, the 10 of Swords is tough energy, because I feel like, there's been a lot of struggle in this connection, and then we have the Moon card coming up reverse. So, I hate to say this, 22H, but I'm feeling like, there could be this, they might want to end this. Especially with that Moon card coming in reverse. They've got some deep feelings and thoughts, about how things have been going. And here, maybe they even feel a little stabbed in the back. So I'm just not very optimistic. I don't feel like it's a very solid, positive energy when it comes to your person. And then we have the Ace of Cups coming in reverse. So, unfortunately, I am feeling like this could isn't a long-lasting relationship that you are involved with, you know. And I hate to say it, but I got to call the cards as it is, you know. And the Ten of Swords, you know, brings some kind of an ending. And with these deep feelings, I mean, if we turn this Moon card around, we see that there's been a block. So there has been an issue that has been really kind of holding back, or maybe he's been holding back. But, you know, with that Ace of Cups coming in reverse, I think the truth is that he doesn't have as strong of feelings as you would like for him to have towards you. So that's what I've got for you, 22H. Hi, Lizzie Platts. Thanks for being a new subscriber. Really appreciate that. Really, really do. All right, let's see. Storytime Kitchen. Everyone in the chat, please like, subscribe if you have not already. All right, let's see. Storytime. What kind of card can we pull for you? Oh, and then we got Lizzie. I'll do you next, Lizzie, all right? Oh, thanks, Storytime. Really appreciate that. All right, Lizzie, let's find out. Will you get married to Bernard soon, please? Thank you. Let's find out if Lizzie's going to marry Bernard. Grateful, thankful for the messages for Lizzie Platts, my new subscriber. Really appreciate all my new subscribers. If you're new here, I am Raven Blackstar. I've been part of YouTube for quite a few years, you know, and I'm really anxious to really turn the corner with my channel, you know, and really kind of make it out there. I'm hanging in there. I'm not going to give up. I love to do this. So, you know, when you love what you do, it's not so much of a job, right? But let's find out, Lizzie. Are you going to marry Bernard? Upright for yes, reverse for no. Grateful, thankful for my new subscriber, Lizzie Platts. All right, listen, he's sitting on the fence. I do feel as if you are going to get married. I don't think he wants to get married just yet. You know, I think, you know, he just wants to make sure. But the fact that it did come up right, I feel as if it's going to happen, all right? Don't push it. Don't pressure it. You know, if you are meant to be, you know, what's the hurry, right? And I just feel as if, you know, he is really seriously looking at this cup here, really thinking about how, you know, we're going to proceed in the next step. Let it unfold like a flower, all right? And I think good things will happen. But I do feel as if you will eventually marry Bernard, all right? And I do like that for you, all right, Lizzie? All right, let's see. LA, welcome in. How do I see your case with Michael going? He's been silent now, and he's powerful. But so are you, LA, all right? So let's go with that, all right? Just because someone's powerful doesn't mean you aren't as equally powerful. So let's find out. All right, let's see what's going on, LA. How is this case with Michael going? He's been silent, and now he's powerful. Yeah, don't push it, Lizzie. You know, like I said, let it unfold like a flower. All right? There's no hurry, especially if, you know, you got the rest of your lives. All right, LA, let's find out what's going on with Michael. He's been silent. So what is this about? Grateful, thankful for the messages for LA. What can you tell me to tell LA? All right, we got the Nine of Pentacles coming in reversed. All right, and then we have the Three of Pentacles also reversed, and we have the Page of Swords. Yeah, you know, I don't like the silence because I feel as if, you know, it's making you a little bit nervous, the fact that, you know, there hasn't been any communication. You know, and the fact that we do have the Page of Swords coming in reversed, just because he's silent doesn't mean he's not watching you, all right? But the Page of Swords, I do feel as if, you know, it's not going very well, you know, and let's see, then we have the Nine of Wands also coming in reversed. I mean, it might be a point where you might reach, you know, a point where you're just going to cut your losses with him. All right, because when we have the Nine of Wands, it's like no point in trying to continue something that's just not going to happen. And the fact that we do have this Page of Swords coming in reversed, you know, to continue, I feel is more of a block than you moving on, you know, especially with this Nine of Pentacles. To, you know, on your own, you'd be really good, all right? So to try to hang on to this energy around Michael that's just not working, I just feel like you need to cut your losses with him, all right? So I hope that makes sense, LA, all right? All right, let's see, Namiria, another new subscriber. Listen, Lizzie, we'll have to come back to you, all right? I always like to get the people that have not had a reading yet, and then if I got time at the end, I'll come back, all right? So let's see, Storytime Kitchen. You're in a no contact with the person you've asked about before. He didn't respond to your last email. How is he feeling right now? And will he be back in the fullness of time? And if so, could we be good? All right, let's find out. Story time. Let's find out. Grateful, thankful for the messages for story time. And then I'll do you, Namiria. Okay? All right, let's see. Story time. You're in no contact with this person. What can you tell me about how he is feeling right now? Grateful, thankful for the messages for this person for story time. What can you tell me to tell story time regarding this person and how he is feeling? All right, listen, we got the Page of Cups coming in reverse. Like, he's not dealing with it. And Seven of Wands, I mean, just totally ignoring. I mean, it's just like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing is what's coming through story time. And let's get another card here. Justice card, you know, just trying to keep things balanced, all right? I don't know whether there's some legal issues that are pending or of that nature, but with the Page of Cups coming in reverse, it's like he doesn't want to start anything. He just doesn't want to go there. And again, out of sight, out of mind. If I don't talk to her, if I don't deal with her, then it doesn't exist. But I feel like with the Justice card, eventually he's going to have to turn around and deal with whatever it is that you two are going through. Now we do have the Ten of Pentacles coming in reversed. I feel like the whole situation is going to end up in a loss. If you are in a legal situation or he is in a legal situation, you know, it's not going to work out to anybody's benefit. If anything, I feel like everybody loses. Is he in with someone else? No, I don't feel like that's what he's involved with anyone else. I just feel as if you know, there is just a lot of history, a lot of pain, and it's at that point where, you know, he's avoiding the final end, you know, and like I keep getting, like, you know, if he doesn't see it, he doesn't think about it, it doesn't exist, but it really does, and at some point, he's going to have to face the consequences of whatever the situation is, story time. All right, but I don't feel like he has someone else. You know, I think he's looking for a new opportunity, but I don't think he has someone currently. All right, let's see. Namiria, your relationship with your eldest son, will it get better? We are in no contact because I put boundaries on his disrespect. Good for you. Good for you. All right, let's see what's going on. Will this relationship with Namiria get better with her son? What can you tell me? What's that? And when that happens, you don't see it coming. I don't see a good ending, you know, because I see a loss with the Ten of Pentacles. So I feel like it'll cost a lot more money than it's worth. And then we had the Ten of Swords, you know, it's just going to end really painful. And I just feel like there will be a lot of money lost, a lot that will be lost. T of Peas in reverse about his life. T of Peas, what is that? All right, you're gonna have to clarify story because I don't know what you're talking about. Hi Anna, welcome in. All right, Namiria, I haven't forgotten you. I'm shuffling the cards. We're gonna find out the relationship with you and your eldest son. How is that going to turn around? Will it get better? Yes, no. Two of Pentacles. All right, I don't feel like it's going to get any better. I feel like he's just, you know, it's just going to move on. Eventually, though, I do feel as if he will come back. But right now, I'm not sensing anything is going to change, especially with this Two of Pentacles coming in reversed. I mean, it's almost like there's not even any point in trying to make it work right now. Just let it go. You set your boundaries, and I think those boundaries, you know, start to gain respect, because I do see that eventually the two of you do connect. All right, but we're just going to have to let it play itself out, you know, because, you know, if you bend your boundaries right now, then he gets his way, right? And the disrespect continues. You know, so if he really needs to connect with you, he's going to have to honor your wishes. So not just yet, all right, Namiria? Oh, the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, I do feel like you should walk away. Let's pull a card on that. But the Ten of Pentacles coming in reverse, that shows a big financial loss. That shows that nobody wins. All right, so whether or not you should walk away, let's pull a card real quick to kind of clarify and end that reading for Story Time Kitchen. Should you walk away? You know, I feel as if, you know, maybe not right now. I think you should let it play out so that you can truly see your options moving forward. I mean, eventually, I do feel like you need to walk away, but you need to walk away with clarity. All right. And I just feel like there's more to be revealed before you actually move. So the answer is I wouldn't walk away just yet. Just let it play itself out and you will know exactly what to do. And in the meantime, don't stress over it. All right. Don't lose sleep. This is going to come to an end. All right. But we just don't want it to end so that you end up, you know, broke at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's see. Who else is out there? I hope that resonated. Yeah, you know, give them time. But like I said, you know, it's just like your consistency is what earns respect for him. You know, it's like she's not going to budge. She's not going to change. She's not going to budge. She's not going to change, you know, and then he's going to have to, if he wants to meet you, he's got to meet you on your terms. And that's what I see happening. All right, let's see. No, that was the Lover's card in reverse. Was it the Lover's card? I don't remember. I don't remember. We'll have to go back. You'll have to go back and look. I don't remember. All right, let's see. Who's next? Anna, how are you? Let's do a general reading for my friend Anna back home. I haven't seen you in a while. It's nice to see you. It's nice to be back. Like I was telling people earlier, I was in a place where I lost my power, my solar power. You know, first it's my car's not working. Now it was my solar system. We had to troubleshoot it. So I didn't have any internet or any power. I mean, actually I had candles. I went out and got LED lights. I have a lantern, you know, that I had to deal with for a couple days, but now I am back. All right, let's see what is going on for you, Anna. General reading for you. What can you tell me to tell Anna? Thanks, Jaden. Thanks for the 40. I really appreciate that. Grateful, thankful for you. All right, let's see. Hanged Man coming in for you, Anna, to the World card. So, you know, you're really confused about an ending. All right. And when we have the Hanged Man, and I feel like you've been really strapped into something, some situation. But the World card here coming in reverse says, you know, this has got to come to an end and you need to gain some perspective in order for that to happen. So I just feel like, you know, with this Hanged Man here, you know, this confusion that you're feeling, it's because you need to kind of get out of your way. You know, it's like, here's your problem. So let's step over here and let's go look at it, you know, and then you can start to see how you can bring things to an end. But I'm definitely feeling, Anna, that there needs to be an ending that has to happen. And here's that Two of Pentacles. You trying to figure out, how do I do this? You know, how do I make this ending happen? You know, so I always like to say when I see the Hanged Man energy, it's like, imagine yourself in a hot air balloon. You get in that basket and slowly that balloon starts to rise. And notice that I said slowly. All right. So it slowly starts to rise and you start to see this happening over here. And then it's like, oh, and then you see this over here and you start to see things from a new perspective. And I think that's what you need to do in order to be able to make the decisions you need to make right now. You know, but with that Two of Pentacles, you know, the minute you end something, you are now in a position to begin something that will bring you more solid, grounded energy that you might be looking for. All right. So that's what I've got for you. All right, Anna. Yeah, listen, hit that like button. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I like how you said that we have 15 birds in Raven's flock. You know, let's keep it going. Let's keep it growing. You know, a lot of times when you see a flock of ravens, I was told many years ago that the blackbirds, all the blackbirds, ravens, crows, even the red-winged blackbirds, those birds are here, you know, they remove things that need to be removed. And when we see a whole flock together, usually there's something up in the community. So let's hope there's something really good in the community happening. All right, Jagan, since you put me that 40 spot, let's see what's going on. Even though you try to forget, past memories are triggering daily. What universe trying to tell you? All right, there's probably some lessons in there for you to learn, Jagan, but let's find out. Thank you so much for your kindness and your generosity. Really appreciate that. All right, let's see. Jagan wants to know what the universe is trying to tell you about these past memories. Listen, a lot of times, when we have these past memories, it brings up fear. We're afraid to make our next move because of what happened to us in the past. And I think, fear is a big thing that you need to kind of let go of, all right? Whatever this fear is. But let's find out, all right, Jagan? Let's find out what the universe wants to tell you about these past memories that are so triggering. All right. Yep, the Two of Cups. It's almost like, these past memories are holding you back from really finding a new relationship. You're 19 years staying away from your wife. And I think you are really afraid that, you might make the same mistake that you did with your first wife. Listen, we only live once. And if you remain in the present energy, all right, and not keep going back to like, oh my gosh, but what if it ends up like what happened with my wife? What ends up, this happens? What about this? And what about this? You're living in the past, and the present is where we have a gift. That's why they call it a present, right? And if we're too far ahead, now we're in the future, there's a lot of anxiety. So I feel like you are being told to just kind of live more in the present moment and not be so afraid that the things from your past are going to happen in your future. All right, because like I said, in the present moment, like you and me right now, this is a good moment, right? Everything's cool. You're having a good time. I'm talking to you. You're listening to me. You can give me feedback, and we're having a good conversation. Stay present and not go to the past and not move to the future, and you're going to be just fine. All right, Jagan, that's what I've got for you. All right, let's see who else is out there. Lana, how are you? So you're just wondering if you can get any vibes from you. You're not asking for a reading yet. You're just wondering what the go is here. You've got a kind voice. Blessings. All right, Lana, let's find out. I just feel like you need a little validation, Lana, so I am going to pull a card for you. Yep, the memories are triggering. Oh, thanks, Story Time. Thanks for the $1.99. Ooh, there's an invitation. All right, we'll get you here in just a minute. All right, Lana, let's find out what kind of vibes do we get from Lana? What can you tell me to tell Lana? Lani? All right, let's see. Listen, right now on the outside, you act as if everything is really good, all right? But on the inside, there's something, you're not as happy on the inside, but you don't want people to know, all right? So I feel like, you need to turn this around. Maybe there's something that you want to do. Maybe you would love to work from home. Maybe there's some changes that you would like to make that would make you a little happier. But right now, you're not letting anybody know that, you're not as happy on the outside as you are on the inside. So let's see if we can start to light that fire inside of you and turn that around. All right, Lana or Lani, thanks for coming in. All right, let's see. Story time. Asking about the invitation which arrived today. What can you tell me to tell Story Time around this invitation? Hi, 22H. I see you again. All right, we'll pull you here in a minute. There was someone else who wanted a little bit more clarification. If you're still out there and you know who I'm talking to, let me know, because now's a good time. All right, let's see. Story time. We're asking about the invitation which arrived today. What can you tell me to tell the Story Time kitchen around the invitation that arrived today? Grateful, thankful for the messages for my Story Time kitchen. What can you tell me? All right, listen, it's okay. I don't feel like it's a toxic connection, all right? So if you've been invited to go out somewhere with someone, I don't think it's bad, all right? Because we have the devil coming in reverse. This is not something that, you should be leery of or, not want to do. The fact that it is coming in as the devil reversed, I feel like you have total control of how you handle this invitation, but I don't see it as a toxic connection. If anything, I see it as a very good invitation, all right? We got the Ace of Cups coming in. So don't second guess it. Just flow with it. All right. Story time. And I think you're going to be much happy, So I like the invitation. All right. So don't think there's some ulterior motive. I'm not picking that up. All right. Story time. So that's what I've got for you. All right. Let's see. Chrislyn, welcome in. How are you? Hi, Carolina. Quick question. All right. Put it in there. Oh, I'm glad, Anna. Hi, it's Lily. Leela, how are you? All right, listen, I'm going to first get to Chrislyn. Current feelings of Leoncio. I think that's how you say it. Forgive me, I am not good with names, all right? So, with that being understood, you can forgive me when I just totally butcher somebody's name. But let's find out, Chrislyn, what are the current feelings of Leon? We'll just call him Leon. All right. All right. All right, Kristen, let's find out. Let's find out. All right, listen, he's a little hung up, a little confused, feeling like, maybe somebody's giving too much to the other person. Maybe they're too strapped, but there's some confusion, all right? And then we have the Four of Cups coming out. And, sometimes with the Four of Cups, there could be like they want more, maybe they're wanting more from this connection. Maybe they want more from what's going on, but, they also feel like they're a little tied to this connection that you two have. So listen, give them some slack, give them some freedom, see what happens, A lot of times when I get like this kind of an energy, I always wonder, like, if you stop communicating, what happens? Will they communicate because you haven't been, or does it totally fizzle? So, I would kind of test those ground waters to see, because, he's kind of sitting on the fence as to whether or not he wants to continue to make this work. So honestly, that's what I'm getting, Chrislyn, that, he could be a little bored with the relationship as well. Let's pull one more card. Yeah, and then we got the Seven of Swords. I just wonder whether or not, he's in a place where, whether he tells you or not, he may start to do things that wouldn't make you happy, because I do get an energy of him sneaking around. All right, so just be aware of that. All right, Chrislyn? You had a fight. Yeah. Yeah, I think, he's trying to see, I think he's wanting a little bit more freedom. I think, he wants to be able to do what he wants. And if he doesn't get that, I just feel like he will be, on some level sneaking around. All right, let's see who's next. Leela. Let's talk about Adrian's feelings, and then we'll go to Carolina. All right, grateful, thankful for the messages for Leela. What can you tell me about Adrian's feelings towards Leela? Grateful, thankful. And then we'll do you, all right, Carolina? Grateful, thankful for the messages for Leela. Oh, it's 11:11. That's nice. New portal opening. This could be, maybe it's for you. Maybe there could be this need for a new beginning between the two of you. Let's see what cards come out, all right, Leela? Let's find out. All right, listen, hang in there. Like I said, 11:11, that's a magical number. I mean, that's a power number. I feel like, you guys are on track. And, we got the Star card coming out, so this is very hopeful. This whole connection, I feel like, is very, very hopeful. So hang in there, all right? Because I think, like, new doors are opening for both of you guys. And, it's going to just kind of enhance things going down the road. So I like that for you. I like that very much. All right, Carolina, what's going on? You want to know why your nephew stopped communicating with you out of the blue. We never engage in any argument. I got to tell you, Carolina, my first thought when I read that was that he's doing something that you wouldn't approve of. Because a lot of times, when all of a sudden they take off and they're in secret and they're in hiding, it's just because they're not sure whether or not you would approve of it. But let's see what is coming through as far as the cards and what it says about that. All right, Carolina? What can we tell you about your nephew? Why did he stop communicating all of a sudden? Grateful, thankful for the messages around Carolina's nephew. All right, listen, yeah, there is something that I feel as if, he's at a point where he's bringing something to an end. And I really do feel like, you wouldn't like what it is that's going on. So he's not going to tell you. But I feel like he's dealing with it because, listen, I feel like he really misses you and family is everything to him. So, just let him go through what he's going through. And eventually you will learn what it is and why, all of a sudden he stopped. All right. Because I just feel like your approval is really really important to him. And if you were to not, approve of what's going on, he wants to, close that door, rather than you know about it. All right. I mean, truly, that's what I'm getting. All right, Carolina. Yep, that's what I got. If I'm a First Nations, no, I'm not, but I am very involved with the Native American community. I have been, going to ceremonies for, oh gosh, the last 30 years. And I am also being mentored by the Huichols of Mexico. So yeah, I've got some background. All right. Oh, 22H, that's what it was. Let's see. Eldest son is distancing from his sister and younger brother. If possible, I will ask if you can answer this question. All right, listen, Namira, I'll come back to you, but let me kind of tie up 22H. What does he want from you? What are his intentions with you? What does he want from you? Listen, he wants to go back. I feel like it's a toxic connection, all right? What does he want from you, 22H? I feel like he wants to come back, but I just feel like if he does that, you're going to get hurt again. I mean, honestly, especially with that Five of Cups. Ace of Pentacles coming in reversed, it's just like, I just don't feel like if he wants to continue that it's going to really work for the two of you. All right, so that's what I've got for you. Hi, Greta. How are you? Perna, how are you? Nice to see you. Namira, let's find out. Let's go back to you. You want to know because the eldest son is distancing from his sister and younger brother. If possible, I will ask. All right, let's find out, Namira. Let's find out what's going on. Why is there such distance between him and his siblings? Listen, I feel like he's being very defensive and he's at a standstill. I don't think he wants to be called out. I don't think he wants to be questioned. And if he puts some distance, and again, you got to wonder what somebody's up to, but I just feel like they don't want judgment. They don't want to get called out. And it's easier if, he just kind of stands in his own ground. Right, Namiria, I mean, really, that's what I'm getting, because I just feel as if, it's one of those things. If people knew what I was really doing, they would give me shit, and I don't want to have that happen, so we're just not going to let anybody know what's really going on, and, they'll handle it on their own. I mean, it's really tough, I think, when you're a parent, knowing when to kind of let your kids find out on their own, the lessons of life, but sometimes that's the way, we learn, so as hard as it is, I think you need to just let him be what he is right now. And eventually things will come to light, all right? Greta, let's find out. Brian, is he serious about you and is he loyal? Let's find out. All right, let's find out about Brian. All right, Greta. Grateful, thankful, and then I'll do you, Prina. Grateful, thankful. Hi, Zila. Welcome in. We are reading for Greta right now, trying to find out if Brian is really serious and if he is loyal. Grateful, thankful to each and every one of you. Thanks for the likes, the comments, the shares, the new subscriptions. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks for the super chats. Also very grateful for that. Really appreciate it. And I can tell you, I got to give a shout out to someone named Alexis Mahan, who sent me a real generous tip last night. Really appreciate you, Alexis, wherever you are. Really grateful for that. All right, let's see what's going on with Brian. Is he really serious and is he loyal? He's also feeling like, he's not that serious, all right? I don't think he really wants to move forward. Is he loyal? I don't feel like he's going to be loyal. Maybe he hasn't done anything yet, but, when we have the Chariot coming in reverse, this is him not wanting to move forward. So if you start to see that things are starting to fall apart, I really do feel like it's because he doesn't really want to continue. But then I do see you being happy, all right? So I think, sometimes we hang on to people for the wrong reason. I would just remain optimistic, and just kind of let him go through what he is if you're really serious about him. You know, but I really do feel like he wants to start to explore other options. So, you know, you need to focus on you right now, okay, and not worry about his options, you know, because I do feel like he's probably going to end up leaving the relationship as it kind of develops because he doesn't want it to develop. All right, so that's what I've got for you about Brian. Oh, and this card wanted to come out as well, and it is the Justice card coming in reverse. So there's not a real good balance between the two of you because I don't feel like he's being fully honest with you, especially with this Justice card. So just kind of keep that in mind and protect yourself, all right? Because in that Sun card, the image of the Sun card, you are alone, you have your own kids, you're not with him, you know, and I think you might end up finding that you probably would be happier without him. All right. And I know that's easy for me to say. All right. You know, I understand those kind of complications when it comes to, but I love him kind of thing. But I think it's just time will tell you that. All right. All right. Let's see. Prina, how are you? And then I'll do you. All right, Greta? All right. Let's see. Prina, let's find out what's going on with you. Is there a question? You're good. I don't know. You just want a reading. We'll just pull a card for you, Prina, and see what comes out, all right? Grateful, thankful for all of you. It's nice to see Bade Papa. Love you back. Elizabeth Wireback, how are you? We'll get you next. All right, let's see. Let's see. Who are we reading for? Greta. Greta? Nope, we're reading for Prina. All right, well done. Let me get back into control here. All right, Prina, we want to get you a nice clear message. What's coming up for you? Queen of Pentacles coming in reverse. So there's a little instability. It could be around, you know, things going on at home. Maybe there's just something that's really bothering you. Looking for a little bit more grounded energy. Let's pull another card out here. Magician. Listen, things are changing. You are changing, all right? And here we have the Magician. You're shedding an old skin and you are changing, all right? Let whatever is wanting to crumble, Prina, crumble, all right? Sometimes we just need to let things kind of fall away in our life so something new can be rebuilt. And notice this background, you know, this building is just all in pieces. And then there's this snake here shedding this new skin, all right? You know, so I know that the instability and, you know, everything changing is difficult. But I feel like with this Magician coming out, there is something better that needs to happen. But you need to let whatever is falling away, fall away. All right, Purna? That's what I've got for you. All right, let's see. Who's next? Hi, Zilla. How are you? Nice to see you. Yep, we got to do what we got to do, right, Namiria? All right, let's see. Greta. Would love clarification on a relationship with Brian. All right, well, we just did that. You know, I just really feel like, you know, you've got to let him go. You know, here, 8 of Cups, he's sitting on the fence again, you know, like, you know, it's just like he does not want to be tied or strapped into a relationship right now, you know, so maybe just pull back on the reins and just kind of see where it goes. But I do see you alone and happy and not with him. All right, Greta? All right, let's see. Elizabeth. Elizabeth. Can we confirm anything on both Davids? We got 2 Davids. Wow. Okay. Let's find out. We'll do David number 1 and then David number 2. Will that work for you, Elizabeth? I don't know. Let's find out. All right. Let's see. Can we confirm anything on both Davids? Grateful, thankful. Grateful, thankful. For Elizabeth, what can you tell me about both Davids? Grateful, thankful. All right, let's see. This card's for you, Elizabeth. All right, let's see. What do we have? We got the Hierophant coming in reverse. So I don't know whether this is both Davids, but this is somebody not wanting to conform, wanting to go on their own way, move to their own beat. They don't want to be attached. They don't want commitment. You know, so that's what I'm feeling with that. And then we have the 9 of Wands. You know, there could be some defensive energy that comes up as a result of this. But honestly, when it comes to the Davids, right, I'm just feeling like, they just want to be on their own. I mean, I don't think they really want the commitment that, somebody is after, because, the Hierophant usually is two people aligning under one umbrella, and they just don't want to conform. And this could be why there is a sense of defensiveness. Now, the Nine of Wands has now flipped itself over. I don't know how that happens, but it does. So sometimes you need to just let it go. All right, honestly, Elizabeth, that's what I'm feeling. It's just like it may be time to let it go. Nine of Cups at the bottom of the deck coming in reversed. I just don't feel like this is meant to be. So I hope that answered your question, Elizabeth. All right, let's see. Let's get one more reading in. Let's see, who else can I read? Let's see if anybody's out there. Bade Papa, are you still out there? The Seventh Sun. Okay, let's see, the Seventh Sun. Hi, Rose. Somehow I see you in there. Okay, Seventh Sun, let's pull a card for you. What can the cards tell me to tell you regarding the Seventh Sun? Grateful, thankful for the messages. And then I'll do you, Rose, all right? Okay, let's see, the Seventh Sun. Let's get a card for the Seventh Sun. What can you tell me to tell the Seventh Sun? All right, listen, we have the Queen of Cups. I don't know if you're involved with somebody who is not wanting to open up. I think there's a lot of emotions there, and I just don't think she is ready to, express them. Let's get another card out here for you, Seventh Sun. Three of Wands. I just feel like if you are dealing with someone like this Queen, they don't see a future. They don't see anything moving forward. And they may not want to say that, so they don't say anything at all, which brings confusion. So the Seventh Sun, I feel as if you may want to just kind of let it go, all right? Because I just don't feel like they're into it like you are, all right? Whatever that means, all right? That's what I've got for you. Rose Glenn, let's do a reading for you. Hi, Elegant Kiki. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Hey, you guys, don't forget to hit that like button. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, I'm coming to the end of this reading, so we're just going to get a couple more in here. We're going to do a general for Rose, and then maybe we'll get Elegant Kiki next. All right. Hi, Rena. Welcome in. All right, Rose. General reading for Rose Glenn. What can you tell me to tell Rose? Okay, let's see. All right, Rose, we have the Hermit coming in reverse. You need to really sit with yourself, all right? When we have the Hermit coming in reverse, there's a couple messages. One is that you've been, really kind of, a loner, not wanting to put yourself out there, not, really kind of expressing yourself. Maybe it's time. Now, the other message I get with this is that, Rose, if there is a situation that you don't want to really handle, the Hermit is saying you need to sit with this. You need to kind of tune into your own inner wisdom as far as how you want to proceed in a situation. Let's get one more card for you, Rose. Seven of Wands, so this is about you really kind of advocating for yourself. So if you have been afraid to kind of stand up for yourself, I feel like, you really need to do that. But before you do that, just be very, very clear with the direction you want to move in going forward. Because the Seven of Wands is a card of the Advocate. This is about you speaking up for yourself. This is about you really knowing what you want to do and the direction you want to go in. And once you really are clear about that, Rose, you will have more clarity moving forward. And then you can start, the process of all kinds of communications, right? Because the card that follows the Seven of Wands is that Eight of Wands, which once you make some decisions and this is what I'm going to do, then things start to really move, and they'll probably move very quickly. All right? So that's what I've got for you. Hi, Malik. Welcome in. All right, Elegant Kiki. Let's see, angel guidance for Elegant Kiki. What can you tell me to tell Elegant Kiki? Grateful, thankful for all of you guys. All right. Did that make sense, Rose? I hope it did. Don't be afraid. That Hermit, it's a solitary walk that we walk with that Hermit energy, and it's one of those that, I have experience, I have wisdom, I have knowledge, I have to trust myself, so trust yourself moving forward. All right. Angel guidance for Elegant Kiki. What can you tell me to tell Elegant Kiki? Grateful, thankful for the messages for Elegant Kiki. Then we're going to do one more, and I'm going to end this this live. Don't worry, I'll be back. I love to do this, you know, so I will be back, I promise. May not be on my time, you know, but I do come back. All right, let's see. Elegant Kiki, you know, we got you in the Wheel of Fortune coming in upright. So I feel like, and this monkey's got a blindfold on. There's something really good about to hit you that you don't expect. I like that, you know, and if you've been wondering whether or not something is going to come through, if it doesn't come through, I feel as if it is because it is for your greatest and highest good, all right? So when we do have the Wheel of Fortune coming in like this, you know, you just got to believe that if something doesn't work out, it's for the best for you, all right? Because I do have the Nine of Cups coming in here reversed. So there's like something that you really want to have happen and then it doesn't come through. But I feel it's because you don't see, you know, the whole picture. Because this monkey's got a blank, you know, this blindfold on, you know, but the fact that the Wheel of Fortune has come upright, you know, it's a good thing, all right? So even though you might be disappointed that something didn't come through the way you wanted to, Kiki, I just feel like there is something better that's going to follow, all right? So what is it? They say rejection is God's protection. I feel like that kind of applies to you, all right? All right, let's see. 22H, listen, I've got to answer the questions that people, you know, of new people here before I get back to you. All right, so let's see. Oh, hell yeah, right? Rena, what's your true soulmate or twin flame will meet you? Let's see, when my true soulmate. Let's find out. When is Rena going to meet their true soulmate or twin flame? Listen, I got to tell you something about twin flame, all right? We always want to find that twin flame connection. Twin flame relationships are hard, all right? I mean, they are really hard. There's usually a runner and there's usually a chaser and there's usually a lot of karma that's involved, you know, so I wouldn't be so quick to look for my twin flame. I was in a twin flame relationship for 12 years and it was really, really hard. Probably the best lessons that I ever learned was through that connection, but let's look for your soulmate. We have lots of soulmates, you know, in a lifetime, so let's run with that, all right? All right, listen, you know, right now I don't feel as if there is anybody coming towards you, but when you meet them, you'll know, all right? Because there will be fire. There will be this energy that really kind of says, wow, this is somebody who I really want to connect with. And the other thing with the Ace of Swords coming in, I feel like when you meet this person, they're going to challenge you intellectually. They're going to call you out. They're going to, you know, really kind of make you stop and think, you know, to the point where, you know, why is this person so much on my mind? So don't push it. When you meet your soulmate, you're going to know. And like I said, there's going to be a fire between the two of you. And it can come up, you know, through the intellect, you know, where, you know, you guys just kind of have this conversation that just burns you, you know. But I like it because I feel as if, you know, it's a very stimulating energy. Now, when it comes to when, you know, I feel like it could be during a season of the fire signs. We do have the swords energy here coming in, and wait a second, I believe swords is like monthly kind of energy. I'm feeling like either you would meet them in the month of like November during Sag season, or maybe even during Aries season, which would be more towards the spring, you know, March into April, or it could even be, you know, during the summertime. But you will know when you meet your person. And, you know, that is a big indication also of like a twin flame kind of energy. So hang in there. You're going to meet them. Don't you worry about that. All right, let's see. All right, let me go back to 22H because I just feel like 22H is desperate. All right, so let's kind of calm that mind here. How should you approach the situation? Is there any chance of change in him? Listen, we can't, people go, you know, people are going to change only if they want to change. We can't make anybody change, all right? And I just feel like consequences to people's actions are like the catalyst for change. So what kind of advice for you? How should you approach the situation, 22H? Let's see what the cards have to say. Listen, I really think you should just let it go and let it play itself out, because like I said, the only way people change is on their own. And with the 10 of Pentacles, eventually there could be a really great outcome, because this is a very positive card. But like I force anybody to change, they need to change on their own. All right, 20 for you. All right, let's see. Let's do one last card pull. Louise, nice to see you. Happiness, nice to see you. Let's see. Group read. I can't even say these. Will you be safe from these girls? Let's find out whether you will be safe from the politics of the office. Grateful, thankful for happiness. Let's keep her happy. Happy. Let's see. We'll do that, and then I'll do you, Louise, and then for sure, for real, I'm going to call it quits, all right? Because I've been on here quite a while already. But let's see. What's going on for happiness? Will she be safe from these girls? Let's find out. Upright for... Oh, look. All right, listen, no, I feel as if there's a lot of gossip. There's going to be a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of people watching you. So be very, very careful, all right? Because I do feel as if, there's an agenda. Let's get another card coming out here. 7 of Cups, And it's almost as if you don't know what to do about the situation. I would just really, CYA, cover your ass, Let's just protect yourself. But I do feel as if, there is going to be a lot of backstabbing, a lot of talk, a lot of, they're going to be looking for everything you can do wrong, all right? But, as far as, how it ends up, I do feel like in the end, you kind of move on and away from them. You may even leave your job and find something else, all right? Because if, you feel like there's nothing more you can do and, it's a horrible work situation, you don't need to continue to be in it. So don't be afraid to look and explore and find something else to do, all right? Happiness, because I feel like they're not going to let up. It's like they want to break you. Don't let them break you. Just leave, All right, Louise, what's going on? It's been a long time. She wants to know whether or not she's going to do well in her exam. Candy Apple, I'll get you before I end this, all right? All right, Louise, let's find out. It's been a long time. Is Louise going to do well on her exam? What can you tell me to tell Louise? It's funny, the sun's starting to come out, so I have a feeling you'll do all right, but let's see what the cards have to say. Listen, it comes to an end. I feel as if, you're going to do okay. Like I said, I feel like, there's some sunshine being shed on it, and there could be this unexpected thing that happens as a result of it. Maybe you'll be surprised at how well you do. I do feel like you're going to do okay. But, listen, don't be afraid to study, and once it's over, and I think you're going to get through it, all right? Like I said, I just feel like you just got to stay optimistic and you got to stay bright, because it is a real cloudy day out, and the fact that that sun popped out just as I was pulling your cards, I just want you to just remain really optimistic and don't give up, all right? And I think you might be surprised at how well you do, all right? All right, let's see, Candy Apple. You want to know about the King of Cups. Candy Apple needs to know about the King of Cups. What can you tell me? Yeah, stay optimistic because, then we have the Tower card that followed that, which is something really unexpected. You may be really surprised this time around. All right, Candy Apple, let's find out about this King of Cups. Hi, Doris. How are you? All right, King of Cups for Candy Apple. What can you tell me about the King of Cups for Candy Apple? All right, let's see, Candy. This King of Cups. Listen, this King of Cups could give you everything, King of Cups. The King of Cups, we have the 10 of Pentacles. I feel as if, this is The Ten of Pentacles to me is even better than the Ten of Cups, because this is somebody who can give you absolutely everything that you want down the road. I do like this. Oh, look, and then we have the Two of Cups coming out. You know, I like this king, all right? And I like this king for you because I feel as if this king, Candy, can really, you know, guide you in a good way and provide for you in a really great way. You know, I just feel like more on his end, you know, there's the struggle, you know, but hang in there because I like this king. All right, Storytime Kitchen. We want to know about your Aunt Cynthia. Is your Aunt Cynthia okay? Upright for yes, reverse for no. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. All right, we're going to find out about Aunt Cynthia. Is Aunt Cynthia okay? Yeah, financially very good, Candy. Listen, things are working out for your Aunt Cynthia. Be patient. You know, there's a greater spirit like working behind the scenes. And look how bright this sun is, all right? You're just going to have to be patient because I think things are going to turn out really okay for Aunt Cynthia. All right, this is a lovely card because I feel like there's some divine, you know, energy and guidance around her. So she's going to be okay. All right. All right, last but not least, Doris. You have a question. Everyone at work is treating you as if you did something wrong. What's up with that? Well, you know, because how can you be protected, happiness, by the universe? By following your intuition. If your intuition says, man, I'm out of here, I don't want to put up with this. You know, because we can't change these people. You know, these people, they're you know, they're going to gossip. They're going to be mean. They're going to say awful things. You know, you can either choose to stay there or not. You know, and if your intuition says, I'm going to go find another job, go find another job. You know, and if your intuition says, oh, I'm going to fight back with these people, you know, then it's going to just continue to be a fight. So you've really got to trust your intuition. And what I saw was the Knight of Wands, which is exploring, you know, getting yourself out there, doing, you know, having fun, enjoying yourself, you know, finding a job where you are a little bit more happy than where you are now. So, I mean, that's how the universe operates, you know. It's just like you can stay or you can go, you know. The choice is always up to you. We always have the options to make a choice. All right, Doris, let's find out what's going on with you. All right, let's see. Yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Doris, you are the last one, and then I am going to call it good for the day. And, you know, I'll try to come back, you know, hopefully before the weekend. My weekends this month are really, really tied up, but I'm available during the week, so maybe I'll pop in again on Friday. But let's see what's going on with you, Doris, and all of the people at work. What's going on at work? Death, you know, they might know something, all right? The Death card, you know, there could be something coming down the pipeline, you know, because the Death card can either bring a transformation or an end. And then we have the Three of Swords, you know, so it's coming in reversed. So listen, what's going on at work, they might just have, I feel like rumors are just flying, all right? So don't play into any of that. I think you're going to be fine at work. I think if anything, you know, truths start to come out, I just don't let it get to you, all right, Doris? You know, because rumors are just that, rumors. And people like to fuel these kind of things. But I don't feel like it has anything to do really with you because this Three of Swords is reversed, you know. So I don't feel like anybody is really after you, you know, but there could be just some stuff that's coming up and, you know, in their minds, oh, it would affect Doris, you know. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, the Three of Cups, you know. You know, it's also one of those things, you know, what might end up happening is going to totally backfire on these people and you're the one that ends up coming out the winner. All right, so that's what I've got for you, Doris. All right, with that being said, I'm going to end this live, and I will see you all in another live. Tune into my videos. I think, what did I do today? We did Scorpio and Libra, I think I did today. They'll be posted tomorrow. But anyway, every day I'm doing something. My tarot today shows up every single day. Yeah, so yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, all right? I sure appreciate each and every one of you. I really, really do. I've had a really great time. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for your energy. Thanks for being a part of my life. Really, really appreciate it. All right, with that being said, be happy, be healthy, be kind, and I'll see you later. Bye now.